Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today's review is going to be Hollow Man. I'm looking at the IMDb page right now, so let's get right into it. Past the last video, I did this setup, so today I'm going to do the same thing. I got a new microphone stand, stuff like that, to hopefully the audio is a little bit better because my mic is not sitting below me; it's sitting right in front of me. But yeah, today's gonna be Hollow Man. It's the remake. Well, okay, I should say retelling, sort of the Invisible Man from 1931. For some reason, I've been doing a lot of these old school remake type movies and reviews. I don't know why. It's just kind of a coincidence, I guess. I just kind of pick them off the top of my head, whatever I feel like watching, and I guess it was just these types of movies. So this was made in 2000. It stars, let's see here, Kevin Bacon, Lindsay McKay, or no, not Elizabeth Shue as Linda McKay, and Josh Brolin. Those are going to be our main protagonist and antagonist. It's about a team of, I guess you could call them scientists, who are they made a serum that makes primates invisible, and it starts out with them basically have made a serum where it reverses the process, and it took them a long time to do that. And they're doing this for military technology for the Pentagon. And Sebastian, played by Kevin Bacon, decides to go to the third step and do human testing on himself without the committee's control. And he goes invisible, and over time he starts to take advantage of it, and while at the same time going mentally insane. And yeah, so the things that I do enjoy about this movie are it sort of stays on a particular path. You're pretty much in the footsteps of Sebastian for most of the movie because he's the main antagonist, and it shows a lot of POV because him being invisible, since he can't see him, that it's obviously like you're looking at nothing on the screen. So there's a lot of POV shots throughout. In 2000, the CGI for this year, I would say it's pretty well done. I can just tell by looking at it, is a lot of either green screen over Kevin Bacon or possibly a double, or like a blue screen, black screen, whatever color they used. They had to, for the transformation part, they had to cover his whole entire body with some form of chroma color so they could do the CGI for it. But you can tell that it's a person there because they touch them, and it would show like the ribs and the whole chest, but when they touch them, obviously there's muscle and tissue between that, so there's a little bit of a gap, and you can just kind of tell that they're touching an actual person with like some sort of green costume on the whole time. But yeah, the CGI was really, really well done. The whole set design, it's pretty much either based in their underground laboratory or throughout parts of the city of Washington, D.C., and it looks good. A lot of high-tech looking equipment for the year 2000. Maybe not so much today, but back then, very, very high-tech stuff. And yeah, the cinematography, I try to, every single one of these movies I watch, I try to look at the cinematography and see how it looks. And for this movie, it's a lot of POV sort of camera work, a few dolly glide shots, just showing the place off, stuff like that. But other than that, it's nothing too spectacular. But I mean, there doesn't really have to be good cinematography with this sort of movie, because being somebody who's invisible, you want to sort of be in their shoes more than anyone else. So it's a lot of POV sort of camera work. The sound design, again, I didn't really pay attention too much because I was kind of just sort of watching the movie. As a lot of movies I will watch as if I'm just watching it as a viewer, but if it's a movie that I'm really like interested in doing a comprehensive sort of review, then I'll be more of in my like critic sort of mode, so I'm kind of paying attention to a lot of details. But the sound design overall, from what I could tell, was like any other movie of this sort, where if there's fast-paced action, then there's going to be, some pretty heavy sort of music going on. Or if it slows down, they might have some orchestral sort of like piano, maybe a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the sound design, but from the parts I did, it was pretty well done. The whole, I guess, plot of this movie is really it's a good plot to go off of, but I feel like this movie, the way that they went about doing it, at some points just went and crossed, because you have a fine line where being invisible, you can do whatever you want, nobody can see you, and so there's a fine line that you have to kind of walk on, and at some points throughout the movie it gets kind of crossed, and I think they did that because they're trying to show off this antagonist, Sebastian, played by Kevin Bacon, that what he is really like compared to maybe what people see in his web. Like, throughout the movie, he's very on a high horse, like it's all about him and nobody else. He calls himself God at some points, and he's basically like a narcissist. And so people obviously who are around him already know that he's that way, but then he sort of crosses into a whole new threshold, of which just there's a few scenes that may be a little bit like upsetting to people. I've seen a lot of movies with disturbing scenes, so it necessarily didn't faze me, but at the same time I could still feel it, kind of like it was crawling under my skin a little bit, that it was very unsettling. And they didn't show much of it, but you kind of got the idea of what was going on. So yeah, overall, this movie, I guess it's another sort of guilty pleasure, in my opinion, just like 13 Ghosts was. And that just goes by being younger, seeing this movie overall, and I mean, the cast was okay. Kevin Bacon, he's a good actor. I'm just, for the most part, I don't know any other movies he's honestly been in, that I can think of off the top of my head. Elizabeth Shue, I couldn't tell you, honestly, what other movie she's been in. Josh Brolin, the only thing I can think of is The Goonies, when he was a lot younger. I know he's sort of starting to peak, actually, right now, which is good for him. But yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the rest of these actors, and I'm not seeing anyone. I don't really recognize anyone off the top of my head. But yeah, overall this movie's okay. Like I said, it's a guilty pleasure type movie, I'd say. If you if you decide to maybe like think about watching it, I'd say yes, watch it. But if you don't, you're not really missing much. Um, it's 2 hours long, which I feel like they kind of draw it out a little bit. But yeah, overall, this movie's okay. I give it a 3 out of 5. Nothing too crazy of a movie. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this review. I actually watched this movie last night. Typically, I watch and then about half an hour to an hour later, after I'm gathering some thoughts and research, then I'll film. But I wasn't feeling too good last night, so I decided to do it this morning. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this review that I did of Hollow Man. And my social is going to be linked down below. That's my Twitter. It's the main one that I use all the time. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you want to see more videos of horror movie reviews, then subscribe right down there. And I will see you guys in the next video.